Looking at one chart today that's literally going to make or break this altcoin market within the next 12 hours. So it's a big one we need to pay attention to. And with that today, we're obviously going to get loads of altcoin setups. I've got shorts and I've got longs for you, as well as the BTC breakdown. Let's go. And remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. Obviously, I've got James in the house. How are you today, sir? Blue shirt.
Blue shirt.
Nothing to report. Nothing to
report.
A
bit neutral here, yeah. A little nervous with all this bullishness. It's just everything's so, it's a weird feeling.
Well, thanks for confirming. Thanks for confirming that you are bullish. Okay, so we're going to get James in for the news in a couple of minutes. There is actually quite a lot of talking points today that we need to cover for you guys on top of all the altcoin setups. And also, guys, don't forget, stick around. Me and DJ and Dave, we are doing an exclusive free workshop for you guys coming up next week. The details are going to follow. Okay, banter bubbles, mixed bag. And yeah, I suppose after a pump like yesterday, it made a lot of sense that these alts eventually start cooling down. Link is showing a little bit more strength than some of these other alts at the moment. Maybe there is a little bit of news around that that we can cover today. ENA is doing interesting things, and Virtual is chopping around a little bit for me. But I'd say overall, it was a good session. Some of my head shorts a little bit early, they got chopped up. They got taken out, but we've locked in a couple more now at some very interesting zones. So is it going to be round two? So let's jump into BTC and then let's get into all of the juice that we need to cover. Now, this was a chart obviously from this morning that I dropped in my market update in the Chart Hackers Discord. And you can see there were two options available. And option one now is playing out at the moment. It's the 1 hour bearish divergence that is starting to reject for us on BTC. So there are two sort of scenarios here. Number one is that is the top, and we are going to print new lows and see you at 77K. Alternatively, possible bull zone bounce here. Is the market going to continue? So depends on what camp you are in at the moment, but you can see I've got the 2 hour chart in front of me here at the moment, and you can see this oscillator is turning a little bit bearish. And when we see a little bit more downside momentum on this thing, we should start seeing this BTC start rushing down a little bit quicker. So eyes on the 2 hour oscillator at the moment. Now, in terms of zones that are of interest to me, 91,550. If you're a filthy degen, you're going to look for a bounce over there. That is probably a 15-minute reversal bounce that you can look at, and that might give you a little bit of something. Maybe it gives you a little bit more of something, but possible reaction 91,500. So look at that. Then the more rational areas for me, the less degen zones, 90,000 into 88,860. This is my local bull zone. This is where, if this move is going to continue and print new highs for me, I want to see this thing drop in this area, maybe consolidate for a couple of hours, and then pump us back into that 97K region. That is my ultimate plan here. If the bulls are going to come and look after us, why do I like that zone? Well, it's got our VWAP there from the lows. It's also got our 0.5382 combo, and it deals with a lot of that big candle that we saw yesterday. Okay, so that's not a great candle, and at some point they always come and talk to you about it. They have a nice polite discussion, and hopefully they are going to be a little bit gentle. Okay, Scoy George says 91.5 coming up. Yeah, well, here we go. This is your first degen bounce zone. In terms of the 2 hour, not looking pretty. Okay, so in terms of resistance, guys, if we get a short-term pump back, 94K, possible shorting over there, and then 97 again looks like a beautiful area. Look here, I've highlighted VWAP danger in that zone. That's quite a big VWAP that I've got here for you guys. So if there is a euphoria pump, guys, remember that is going to be a really nice short area that you can pay attention to. Okay, so there's the basic ping pong area for BTC for today. And let's just look at the lower time frame so you guys can get a little bit of context as to what I'm talking about in terms of these oscillators. Now, these oscillators are super reliable in the sense that when you get divergence prints at nice resistance zones, they tend more often than not to give you a little something. Obviously, sometimes it's a little bit more, but this morning when we saw the divergence at resistance, the balance of probability starts leaning in your favor that it's going to possibly roll over. So that is now what's gone on. And the safest play for me, guys, 1 hour time frame, you want to look for a bottom on the oscillator over there on the 1 hour time frame. Look at that. And then we're trying to get a nice bounce. Now, hopefully we can tie that into our bull zone, and that bull zone is 90,000 into 88,800. That makes the most sense for me. And at the same time, you're probably going to see a lot of these altcoins drop into corresponding VWAPs, bull zones, and things like that. and you'll get a couple of resets, and then we can look for that short-term bounce that might turn into a little bit extra along the way. Okay, so guys, yeah, I mean, if you're enjoying the content, obviously hit the like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe, and if there's people that don't know about me, call your friends, tell them to come and watch. Okay, the Lord of Entry is in the house. You get action every single day. You get degen setups, you get long-term setups as well from us over here. Okay, let's get into the news. I see the degens are trying to buy this 91.5 already. Guys, just be careful. Just be careful. Okay, let's see what is going on here in the news, and a couple of things. So number one, 𝗏𝗍's 376 million here at the moment. So yesterday we were what, 280 give or take, and so I mean we've had a late flush. We obviously had a lot of late longers. We get a lot of guys longing the top at these types of zones. You know, the minute you get a green pump like that, you actually got to be a little bit careful. You got to consolidate a bit and just take care of yourself there, and not to get too euphoric. Okay, and in terms of December, well, we got our pump yesterday, so we're 2% up now for December, so things are looking great from that front. And crypto T, yeah, I mean, you can't explain this any better. I mean, literally a couple of days ago, Bitcoin was dead, it was buried, MicroStrategy was going to hell, and all of a sudden everything is okay again, and we are so back. Remember, it's now our Bitcoin, and it's not your Bitcoin, it's ours now. And I mean, who did this happen to yesterday? So a couple of my shorts got absolutely roasted, but again, I like to have a strategy where I'm hedging and I've got protection if we do get those rollovers, and I'm going to consistently play those rejection zones whenever we get it. Okay, so we're going to cover a lot of these positions for you guys as well today. But yeah, let me know in the chats how you guys are going. Are you shorting yet? Are you just longing? Where are you guys sitting here at the moment? I'm pretty keen to see. So in terms of the news, now we had Uncle Donald come out yesterday with a big announcement, and I mean, yeah, we got a bit of pumpage out of that. We're going to talk to James now, and then today he's coming out again. He's going to be making an announcement at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time today. James, what shall we expect today? The change
I'm not sure what this one's about at all. Because like yesterday there was speculation that he was going to be talking about this 𝗏𝗧𝗔𝗥𝗏 being the new Fed chair, which he sneakily put in there unofficially. But yeah, for today, I haven't seen any theories. I'm not sure what the heck it's supposed to be about today.
Well, guys, something to look forward to. Hopefully he doesn't nuke us. But yesterday, as James was saying, he mentioned this man 𝗏𝗧𝗔𝗥𝗏, okay? And the markets obviously responded well that he could be the new Fed chair. I'm not going to play the video, but I mean, he kind of like slid it in there. A little bit sneaky, because it wasn't what the press conference was about, but the markets enjoyed it, okay? So we enjoyed it, okay? He can do that more often. It's no problem for me. And then this came out earlier today. The SEC is cracking down on highly levered ETFs amid the recent surge in market volatility. So what does that mean? These guys are trying to bring down leverage to about 2x leverage. Now, what does that mean for us filthy animals that are trading 50x and 100x accounts? Okay, so, you know, SEC's regulating the stocks quite nicely, maybe not so much the crypto market. And if you're wondering what happened on the 10th of October, it probably wouldn't happen in the stock market. Put it that way. Okay, so these guys are looking after the stock traders here at the moment, and they're trying to limit the leverage. Okay, so that obviously affects things a little bit now. And Japan's 30-year government bond yield surges to a record 3.4% as the BOJ is now considering raising interest rates. Okay, days after they finalized a $135 billion stimulus package. Okay, so they pumping money into the economy, okay, and like that's going to cause inflation, and then they're going to raise the interest rates. It sounds like fun to me. I mean, I'm not a macroeconomist, but that sounds a little bit dodgy.
Well, that's it. Those two things don't happen together. Those are the opposite. You don't raise rates and print money. It makes no sense. That's what they're saying. Something's broken. Well, what's their plan here? I'd love to hear what their long-term plan is doing that.
It feels like they've run out of ideas and they don't know what
I think so.
Anyway, we'll leave it.
Let's push all the buttons.
You know what I mean? My 50x shorts and longs, that can keep me up at night. I'm not going to think about the Japanese too much. We'll let them sort it out, okay? And we must just be able to trade our big levels. Now, Marty Party says macro readings. Oh, so the USM services PMI came out a little bit higher than expected. So that could be a touch bearish as well. A couple of things at resistance there. Why is that potentially bearish? Well, it might mean the Fed might be less inclined to cut more aggressively. I don't know if the voting has changed now. We had 80% for a cut around the corner.
We had those jobs numbers this morning that this is nothing compared to those jobs numbers that came out. So I think it's a much smaller metric. And because the jobs were so bad, this is a nothing burger. If there wasn't the jobs, then yeah, this could mean a less dovish Powell. But yeah, with those jobs, they're going to cut rates. They have to.
Well, there you go. Mr. 𝗂𝗆𝗍 is taking a position. Okay, so there you go. He's feeling confident. Now, remember, guys, the strategy is, and we got to see how this works out. Obviously, yesterday was a serious pump, but if we get more upside in the market, I'm talking like daily pushes on these oscillators into this FOMC, which is coming next Wednesday, that could be an epic short opportunity there for us. So let's see how everything plays out. Remember, I'm here every single day covering you guys on these things. Okay. Now, in terms of silver, yeah, I was saying to the chart hackers earlier, I'm nearly at my target zone here, 59.9. That is coming in hot for me, and I was actually looking for that GIF where I do that little twerk, because I mean, this is a little banger. 59.9. Let's talk about the gold short that we are running at the moment. Again, I've seen some bearish divergence here on lower time frames on gold. Maybe it can push a little bit lower down. So let's see. We do have a lower high in play, and maybe some more downside on gold. So we long silver. We got a short running on gold. Let's see if that is going to look after us. And then in terms of the other stuff going on, Circle absolutely popping here at the moment. That was a nice banger. So that is now turning nice and green. MicroStrategy pretty flat for me at the moment after making a little comeback in the last couple of days. So in terms of the S&P, you can see we still at our resistance zones we covered yesterday. Again, doesn't seem to care too much about the news at the moment. And like James was saying, you know, those jobs numbers might obviously help this thing pop a little bit higher. So 6,830 S&P seems happy at the moment. And then MicroStrategy, it looks like there are a ton of calls at the moment, and this guy's saying no surprises if MicroStrategy goes back to $200 by the end of the week. Okay, so that would be pleasant. I would be quite happy if we can get that move. I was looking for, what, 30-40% pump on MicroStrategy, but if we push up to 200, yeah, I think that's going to be a good result. And in terms of the 3-day, guys, anyone who is long MicroStrategy with me, no changes here. This thing does look like it wants to push higher. I'm obviously going to hold on to this thing as long as I can. I am trying to get this push, but it needs to be off the back of a nice, strong crypto market and things like that as well. We need a couple of stars to align here to get that nice move in there for us. Okay, so that is that. Now, QT is officially ending. This is your first bear news of the day. It's officially ending, but be patient with your bags. Historically, Bitcoin leads tightening of the balance sheet, quick to dump, but lags expansions of the balance sheet, so it's slow to rise. Last time QT ended, 2019, it took Bitcoin only 59 weeks, James. A couple of sleeps. It wasn't a very long period there. A little bit of chop. And there we go. Okay, so guys, brace yourselves. Okay, 59 weeks coming in hot here for us. Now, let's cover BTC on the 3-day. And once again, guys, as bullish as yesterday was, and as euphoric as we might have been able to feel when we got that beautiful pump, look at the context of what is actually going on here. And we actually haven't eliminated the possibility of the move back down to 76 to 75K. That is not out of the question yet. And if you take a look at the Bitcoin 3-day chart, you can see it would be as easy as printing a new low on price and printing a higher low on the oscillator. This could take about a week to play out for us. And then we are locked in at 75, 77, those types of levels. So it is still on the table. And that is why I'm encouraging you guys to get some kind of hedging strategy going. If you pump into resistance zones, don't be scared to hedge short. Don't be scared to take a little bit of profit along the way, because we don't know when this move is going to end. Okay, we can only work on these big levels in front of us, and we can use our bull zones as a guide for the longs. And when we start losing those bull zones, that is when things start potentially rolling over for us and getting a little bit darker. Okay, so just pay attention to the stuff. Just clip profits along the way. Remember, you can always jump in later. At some point, we are going to get a flush into the bull zones, and then you can start longing those things again. And if you fail on the bull zone, that's fine. We're going to find new levels lower down. Just protect yourselves. Now, what is the big chart? What is this big chart that's going to tell us basically the story in the next 12 hours as to what it's going to happen? Well, you guessed it. It's one of my favorite coins, and I love longing the top of it when the time is correct. So let's take a look at this big chart here. And this is ETH at the moment on the 12-hour that I'm tracking. It looks even more deadly and lethal on the daily and the 3-day. But essentially, what you are looking at here is ETH trying to squeeze up through a massive horizontal, and believe it or not, Happiness's 50-week moving average that he likes to use on BTC is quite a strong marker. And you can see the size of the rejection that we got off the 50-week moving average the last time it pumped into that region over there. There was a pretty hard rejection. So once again, we are at major resistance on ETH. And the upside is, if we explode, I believe the market's going to pump pretty hard. We're going to see ETH run into our next major short zone, which is going to be around about that 3,000 to 3,500 level. And that will give us a nice big short on a lot of these tokens as well. But right now, ETH is at major resistance. Altcoins are at major resistance, 2-hour reversals, 1-hour bearish divergence. It's not looking incredible. On the 8-hour, yes, it looks a little bit better on some of these tokens. So I just want to point this out, guys. If we blow this area, I'm going to be adding to my ETH position. But until we start popping through there, I'm playing a little bit safe here. I've got a head short running. I'm just kind of watching, waiting, and seeing what's going to happen. But we pop that zone, guys. I'm adding to this ETH long. We're going to press this thing, 3,400, 3,500. That is going to be the big one. PMG George, don't whisper sweet nothings in my ear like that. That makes me feel happy, the bull moon that's on its way, and super moon tomorrow. Okay, so James, is this confirmed? Have we got a confirmed pump tomorrow because of the bull moon? Can you just confirm this?
Yeah, I can't confirm that. Sorry, yeah, I'm not sure.
Not helpful. Okay, so guys, let's talk to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 to some of the content.
My God, Dylan, we are so back. What a bounce. I have been printing handbags left and right. This is the life. This is what trading is all about. I feel like I'm about to get rinsed, though. Give me some levels, would you?
We'll get it for you. I mean, this guy, you get one green candle, he's like, oh, he's back, he's in the jacuzzi, he's doing his thing. I mean, I can't believe this guy. Just the other day, he was sitting at the desk smoking and drinking whiskey. Now he's feeling all back again. Okay, well, at least he said he thinks we're going to get rinsed. So I can see that we are obviously at resistance. So we're going to cover a couple of important markers here. And then what is coming next on the show, you're going to talk, you're going to see ETH now, you're going to see Sol. And then I've got a ton of altcoins for you. I've got 𝗵𝗵, I've got Brett, I've got SPX, I've got Hype, I've got Pump, I've got XRP short that we are almost ready to go on as well. So there's a lot happening here for you guys. Yeah, Licky's is kind of swole. It's probably swollen from all the drinking. I mean, who knows? All the stress. Okay, so let's look at our altcoin markers here and market markers. USDT Dominance still rolling over, still being a good boy at the moment. And we just want to see this thing net down. We want to see this thing move into our 5.67% region. That is going to be the bounce zone. I've got a nice alarm over here that's going to remind me to take profits. Okay, we got to take profits at that zone. If we hit in that area, that means the market is obviously popping to the upside. So USDT Dominance red is obviously good for us. Okay, that is what we want to see. Then in terms of Bitcoin dominance, we use this as our guide now, whether Bitcoin is rolling over or pumping. This is our guide that tells us, are these alts going to outperform or not? And at the moment, the alts are technically outperforming a little bit here. You can see we've got the rejection, we've got the red candle, and that is always a good thing for us. So as long as we are dropping lower, we are happy as altcoin traders. And then the big danger zone here for me, guys, 59.2%. If we do drop into that zone, that is also considered a TP zone or a danger zone for your altcoin. So if you're feeling euphoric and you drop into that area, you want to be a little bit careful in that zone. So Syed, no, I am not. Unfortunately, I don't have an IMX swing long. I'm guessing Dave gave that. He loves a bit of IMX. I'm guessing he gave that entry. Okay, so heat map, you can see we're back in the neutral territory on a lot of these altcoins, and possible chop coming for the guys that are in the weak to neutral area. It could be a little bit choppy now that we've had a rejection, and then obviously we got a few moving into the strong zone, and those could be potential breakout plays that you can pay attention to. So if you want, you can always track this 4-hour heat map, watch the neutral line. The guys moving into strong, they sometimes are going to offer you a couple of breakouts along the way for all the traders out there, or all the degens out there. Okay, you sickos, you all bought 91,500. I mean, just be careful. That's all I want to say. Just be careful there, guys. Okay, let's talk some liquidity now. You can see 90K is obviously the top of our bull zone here on BTC, and there's our lower level. Look at that, 90K. So there's a nice juicy zone. If the market makers want to, they drop it in that area, they clean it out, and then there's a possible little bit of pumpage there once again in that zone. Okay, and PMG George says he's not trading, he's waiting. And why aren't we trading BAT? She moves. Is that basic attention token again? That was that Brave browser thing. Yeah, guys, I don't like Brave. It kept glitching for me, so I stopped it. So I'm boycotting BAT at the moment. Now, there was a big spike in ETH today, and I was saying to the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 layer ones and things like that. Today, ETH was actually looking pretty good for us. And you can see there was a big spike in buying. So maybe these guys are getting bullish again. And we're talking about taker buy volume hit $148 million there on ETH.
Their new upgrade went live today. Yeah, I think that's why the increase in volume there.
So they're buying the announcement, they're buying the news. Good luck.
I guess. I mean, so is it time to short it then? Right?
Well,
time to sell the news?
So, guys, I mean, a couple of things here on ETH. I mean, these guys pumped it. They're buying the news. I mean, okay, like, good luck. Obviously not watching the show. In terms of rejection zones, well, we can see what's going on. I mapped these out for you guys. Yesterday, we hit our first zone, 3142, hit it for the beautiful rejection. And now we have printed our 2-hour reversal. We've printed a divergence on the 1 hour as well. Let me just show you what this looks like at the moment. Look at that. Double spider webs on ETH. Tell me that's not going down without telling me that's not going down. So option one is obviously this double divergence and blue dot reversal plays out, okay? And we start rejecting, and then we start trying to understand where can we find this thing. So if the double divergence does start playing out for us on ETH, it means our first rejection zone was correct, okay? Look at that beautiful rejection. And if it does, I'm looking for a bounce long on ETH anywhere between 2,980 and 2,930. So anywhere in that region, I'd look for something that is considered my bull zone, the VWAP 0.5382. Now, if things get dark, we're going to look much lower, 2,800, somewhere around there. But for me right now, that is all I want to see. So I've got the head short running on ETH. I've got the long. We can add to ETH if we drop into that bull zone. Let's look for the bounce. Or alternatively, if we blow through that big resistance zone, we can add that and play that as a big breakout there. The market might jump in and start pushing ETH through that. So 1 hour, not looking great to me at the moment. Let me just paint you a scenario. Now, I want you guys to, I'm just going to explain a scenario to you on the 2 hour time frame, and it's applicable to all the altcoins. I'm not going to explain it on every single one of them. But what you're going to see from me now is a lot of bearish divergence in play on these tokens. They've now started rolling over. But the 2 hours have only just started tipping. So it gives us two options here. Option number one is it just reverses now down to the bull zone, maybe even lower levels potentially. Or option number two, there's a second pump in the market, and that turns the 2 hour up and it prints us bearish divergence. And that bearish divergence is going to happen at your next level to the upside. And that is what I want you guys to pay attention to. So you're going to be covered. Your bases are going to be covered from both sides. Now, if we get the second pump on ETH now later today, there is a possible rejection zone coming for you, 3,263 and 3,430. These are both reasonable short zones. Okay, these are reasonable take profit zones, reasonable short zones here for the market if we pump into those types of areas. Okay, so 3,260, 3,437, treat them exactly the same way we treated this one today. Yes, it's an absolute STC, 100% correct. Okay, now let's take a look at what is going on here. And you can see I've got my ETH head short in play. I've got the ETH long from yesterday. And I have clipped a little bit of profits on that. Link, I'm trying to scalp this thing. Who gave me Link? Somebody in our group gave me Link today. Trying to scalp this thing at the moment. Sui short is running. I'll show you that chart as well. The long, I have banked almost 3,000 out of that long there. Bitcoin short from that upper band is running now for us nicely. Have taken more profits on the BTC long. I've banked 7. I've still got 10 in the tank. Sol short is playing out now for us as well, and the Sol long obviously holding that open. Virtual playing games with me, and Brett short that I gave you guys yesterday, have started that one, and I'm wondering if it's time to jump into Peppy as well, and we're going to talk about that one on the show as well. Yes, Matty, my short order on AVAX picked up, so if the market rolls over, obviously that is going to play out for us. We're going to have to wait and see. I took that one on Blowfin there with Jay yesterday. I think it was yesterday. We set those limit orders, so that thing did ping for us. Now, in terms of Sol, guys, yesterday we covered a couple of big zones, and hopefully you guys got your, got involved. Yeah, at 144, you can see that was a rejection zone. I'm looking at Sol on the 2 hour, and you can see this oscillator has rolled over. And BMG, don't be like that, bro. Remember, we got the nice pump. I'm now like starting the exit positions. You know what I mean? We now we're calming down. We get excited in the beginning, and now we're calming down. In terms of the 2 hour, you can see this thing has turned a little bit bearish, so we are looking for lower. Now, the perfect world for me, like I want to see this thing drop here, give us the reversal. That is the dream scenario. Remember, like ETH, like I explained, I'm not going to explain it on every single altcoin here, but the bearish divergence print is going to be on the 2 hour. You move up here on the oscillator, bang, and then you reject at the next high for Solana. So a 2 hour bearish divergence print, which could be potentially stronger, is for me on Sol 152 to 154, somewhere in that region. And I don't know what happened there. I didn't even do anything. Don't shoot the messenger. Okay, 152. Maybe it's a stop. I don't even know. 152 to 154 for me on Sol. Even 150, guys, looks like a big danger zone. That will be your 2-hour bearish divergence rejection on Sol. So if you want to look for a short, that area looks amazing. For those of you that got the short already over here, you're good. If you're opening a short now, it's a little bit tricky because you might pump and put yourself under pressure. Ideally, you want to get these shorts with precision in these areas and try and focus on the levels that I give you and focus those levels consistently, play them consistently, guys, and you will end up on top. Okay, so just focus on those zones whenever I give them to you. Now, what do we do if Sol rolls over? There's a possible scenario here for me today on Sol that I want you guys to look at. Number one is, you can see we're getting our DGen long zone. Okay, so I gave that to the chart hackers earlier today. 139, we're getting our DGen bounce. Again, we don't know how long that bounce is going to last. Option number one is we just roll over, we do a lower high, and then we drop into our bull zone. For me, guys, longs 136 to 133. That makes sense to me in terms of a 1 hour reversal here for Sol. 136 to 133. That could work out nicely. So look at that as a possible option. And then obviously option B is we blow through this area and then we look for that rejection at that 150, 154 region. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Let me know in the chat, is it making sense to you? You got to understand your two options. Remember, 1 hour reversals versus 2 hour, they're two different things that we need to play with. 1 hour, obviously, time frame carries less weight than a 2 hour. Okay, and Giovanni says Asia dump, then pump as well. Yeah. I mean, guys, it's definitely choppy today. I think it's fair to say, like, a lot of the guys are getting chopped up here if you didn't lock in some good entries lower down. Now, I do have a Sol DGen chart for you guys that I want you to look at, and I just want to give the DGen something to work with, and we'll cover some of this on the scalping session that I'm going to do with DGen Dave. But essentially, I mean, everyone's got a different strategy on how they scalp and stuff, but in terms of the lower time frame stuff, the oscillator plays the same role. It's just on a much smaller scale. So you can see at the moment I'm tracking Sol on a 30-minute time frame, and you simply want to see this oscillator reverse here, maybe print some divergence, and hopefully on a reasonable zone, and that gives you some kind of bounce long. So in terms of the 30 minutes that I'm tracking at the moment, this is not a reasonable long zone for me. This just looks a little bit dangerous. So you kind of want to let this thing drift down into a reasonable zone and then look for a kind of long. So DGens, scalpers on the 30 minutes, stuff like that sort of 136 could be something where you get a bullish divergence print on the 30 minutes. Maybe you get a short-term move there out of Sol. Okay, but we're going to talk about that in detail on a scalping session that I'm doing with DGen Dave. And you've seen he's won the Banter Royale 4 times out of 5, and he's going to give you some of his tips and tricks that he uses to spot tokens, how he trades them, does he hedge, is he long, is he short, how does he play the game. So he's going to teach you guys all of that. We're going to do it together. We're going to share our knowledge with you guys and give you whatever we can to help you along the way. What you can do if you want to sign up, it is a free Zoom session that we're going to do for you guys, but you do have to be linked to a Banter 2-bit link. So if you go through Claim My Spot, so go into the show description, you're going to click on more, and you're going to find the link here for the scalping session. It's in 6 days and 1 hour. So go and claim your spot. And we are doing it on the 9th of December, 1 o'clock ET. So it's going to be just after my show. And we're running this one on 2-bit. And I've deposited my funds in my account. Let's see, where are we here? Let's get this thing going here. Where's our account? There, asset summary. Okay, I've got my $100 ready to go. Okay, I'm ready and cooking here on 2-bit, getting ready to do some scalping with Dave. Okay, so that is coming around the corner, guys. Please sign up, come and learn a couple of things. Okay, then look at Sol. Look at Sol. What's this market doing here, James? What's going on here? This is crazy. Okay, let's talk 𝗠𝗆. And guys, another 236 DGen pump. If you guys want to be filthy DGens, long the 236. You've seen it on Sol, you've seen it on ETH, you've seen it on Bitcoin, you're seeing it on 𝗠𝗆. If you want to be a filthy DGen, long 𝗠𝗆 here. Okay, your stop is 1.67, a close under 1.67. I ain't buying that shit. Okay, like obviously it can go higher, and obviously it can pump, but you can see, like, I'm locked in 𝗠𝗆 positions here, and oh god, my Pippin order. Pippin order just hit. This is nice. Okay, I'll talk about Pippin in a minute. Okay, let's talk. Where's 𝗠𝗆? Yes, 𝗠𝗆. Okay, so you can see I'm running the 𝗠𝗆 short at resistance. I've got the long as well. Okay, the long's cooking here for me. I don't want to do anything yet. Like, conviction plays for me on 𝗠𝗆, lower down or higher up. I'm kind of now waiting to let it happen. But if you want to be DGens, you can see you're getting your 236 bounce. I just want to point out to you guys like this is why I'm kind of staying away for now. We're getting multiple reversal prints here. Blue reversal dot VWAP reversal on the lower time frame. Yes, the higher time frame can still send us higher, and if that is going to be the case, I want you guys to have short zones and I want you guys to have long zones as well in case there's a dip. So let's just go through SUI. What are our options here? So that rejection zone was from yesterday. I gave that to the chart hackers yesterday. Local rejection zones that we were watching, 1.76 and 1.877. These are your short zones that you can pay attention to, and you'll get something like this out of these areas. Maybe you're going to get a little bit more. Okay, so look at something along those lines there, 1768 and 1877 as your rejection zones. If we're going to get a bearish divergence on the 2 hour, for me, the short is going to be there, 1877. And in an extreme pump in the market, guys, you're looking at 1.96 into 2 for SUI. Okay, so 1.96 into 2 for SUI. That is going to be a high conviction short zone. Why is that a high conviction short zone? This is where we've got our VWAP, our 50-day MA, and we've got a nice big 382 over here. It's a macro 382. So you're going to look for a pump into that zone. Okay, so in terms of high conviction, that is going to look something like this, and you're going to give yourself a reasonable stop here in that area. You're going to have to let it play out, because if we pump into that zone, you're going to be seeing reversals on the 4 hour, 2 hour definitely, and even possibly the 8 hour. Okay, so if it goes up there, remember, and Jack, did you long the top of SUI, bro? Now remember, all these charts go into the Chart Hackers Discord for you guys directly after the show. You're going to find it all there, and you have access to that. And you also have access to when entry, which is a setup that I give every single day after the show. I give you an entry, a stop loss, take profit, and you can set and forget. And let's see if it's going to work in your favor. And Maruk says, I just 75x fart. Well, Maruk, I kind of am scalping fart. I'm going to talk about this thing for you now. Okay, let's talk hype, and let's cover this. So a little bit of bullish news on hype. I don't know the full fundamental details, but basically there's a company that's been given clearance to purchase $300 million worth of hype. It's probably going to be like not on an exchange. They're not going to market buy this thing, but it is obviously bullish in the sense that it's going to take supply off the market. Now you add that onto the fact that the market's turned green and the traders are coming back and hype starts printing money again. For me, hype is something you have to look at. Okay, so I love trading hype, obviously. And you can see my areas. I'm currently, I think I'm fully out of this hype actually at the moment. I'm fully out of hype. And now kind of waiting for my next entry on hype. So we got to just wait patiently here, because for me, it's either higher up for the short or it's lower down for the long. Or, if you want to do crazy stuff, you can obviously long the momentum and hope for the best. But it's a little bit degem, and you got to protect yourselves under candles, and you risk getting stopped out a couple of times. But in terms of hype now, looking at this was our short option here, 35.13, and the next short option was 36.88. Okay, these are the two reasonable short zones. And we saw earlier today, we printed double bearish divergence on hype, and that is why it obviously started rolling over a little bit. That there is an interesting development now. We can see this 1 hour is kind of trying to tail up a little bit more. So let's see what happens here. You might still find another divergence print on this guy if hype starts pushing into this region again. So bears, if you want something here, if you see a little push here, I would say it's worth a look for another short opportunity on hype, 35.13. Alternatively, you're looking at that 36.9. That makes sense to me there for hype shorts. And then here is my next long zone. I'm trying to wait super patiently here, and that's 32.97 into 32.2. Somewhere in that zone, that makes a lot of sense to me. It's going to be about a 3% risk, and then possibly some new highs on hype. So possibly some big upside there if we can get it, if we get a nice dip in the market. Okay, so that is kind of my play now on hype. I'm kind of just waiting. Let's see what's going on. And if you guys want to talk about when entries, and yeah, I mean, sometimes I wear these around the house. Wife doesn't love it when I wear them, but she doesn't understand. Like, when entry is actually a channel in the Discord. She doesn't understand what I'm talking about. And here's a when entry from yesterday that we're waiting for on pump. I was getting very excited when I saw the market start exploding today, because I thought the hackers were going to get their entry on pump. And this is a very high conviction short zone for me. So guys, lock in this level for later on, okay, because we might be going there at some point. The level is 36 into 367, and looking for a high conviction rejection here on pump. But right now, you can see pump is trying to make its way up into this region, and you can see it's getting a 1 hour reversal pretty soon. Okay, so we got a 1 hour reversal coming. Okay, so I'm nibbling a little bit, nibbling on a pump a little bit in the zone. I am looking for a reversal here on pump, and then possibly a push into 36. So there is a bit of a degen trade here coming for you guys if you want to have a crack. I have started, and the exit zone for me is going to be a close above 298. So if you close above 298, that could take you into your high conviction when entry long zone. So all we want to do simply is ride the bull zone and get that 1 hour reversal on the oscillator, and we're looking for a short-term push to the upside. Possible trade here, guys. I have started the position. So 298, close under that, for me is an exit plan on that guy. Okay, so let's take a look here. You can see I'm chopping around in this one, and I'm wondering if I'm going to need to cut this AVAX short. That AVAX short entry picked up overnight. Now I'm holding it because I can see a lot of bearish divergence. So I'm going to leave it for now, but we're going to have to monitor that. If the market gets a little bit hungry, we could see some issues. Now, 𝗲𝗏, I see she's 75x, obviously longing the 1 minute candles again, and hopefully she zoomed out, and hopefully she looked at what we had. We had the 50-day MA, we had a bull zone at the 0.5 as well. So we had 3264 into 31, which is your 618 and your other VWAP. Okay, so we had a lot going on here in terms of support on Fartcoin, and we also got a reversal print a little bit earlier today. So 𝗲𝗏, I think it's a good trade. Let's see how we go. If the momentum continues, then we get the easy play. And what is the easy play? The easy play is this version where you just go straight up, okay? And that makes everyone happy, and trading feels super easy. The higher grade play, the hard play, is the bullish divergence play, where they drop you back. Now they take your stops out, then they come and they print a new low, and then they send you up to the upside. So just pick your poison. Or you high grade, or you standard grade. Hopefully this is just a standard grade pumper for us, and my long is going to print. But be ready if they drop it lower. Always be ready for that bullish divergence. It's quite often quite a nice move after they flush out some late longers and things like that. Okay, so that makes sense to me. Now Fartcoin, where do we go, guys? 𝗲𝗏, it depends on your time frame. 362 and 39. 362 and 39. And it feels like this thing is actually cooking here at the moment. Yeah. Yes, yeah. We printing here. We're printing. Okay, so 362 and 39 makes sense for me. In fact, let's add a little bit here. Let's get a little bit more aggressive here. I didn't come here for a haircut though. Okay, there we go. Okay, a little bit more to the fart. Okay, so what you can do when you get a breakout like that, you can add to the position, and if you want, you can just drop your stop under the candle. Okay, so you can just stick it under there, and then you're pretty much risk-free. So what we've done, we've got a little breaky, floated around, and now we're breaking out, and you put your stop under that candle, look for a candle close below ideally, and then you protect yourself, and then you're in a free trade basically. Okay, guys, let's talk 𝗏𝗆. Now 𝗏𝗆 is one of only 5 altcoins Vanguard's 50 million clients can buy starting today. James, did you know this? I mean, wow. I mean, out of everything, 𝗏𝗆. Okay, so they're buying 5.
And XRP and XRP.
11 trillion in boomer retirement. Are they talking to me? Who's calling me a boomer? 11 trillion in boomer retirement accounts gets crypto access, but the menu is Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, XRP, and 𝗏𝗆. Fuck right off, excuse me. I mean, why aren't these guys buying Hyperliquid? You know what I mean? Why aren't they buying, I don't know, Brett? Okay, so in terms of 𝗏𝗆, agree. Like, definitely agree. Guys, this could be super bullish for 𝗏𝗆, but to be honest, looking at 𝗏𝗆 looks no different to a lot of these other altcoins. There's actually other outperformers at the moment, but what you can do is you can play the game, and if you have patience, you just kind of want to look for the reversal eventually to the downside. So for me, I'm trying to just wait on 𝗏𝗆. You can see our oscillator is bearish. When it's bearish like this on the 2 hour, generally, like, just sit back, let it come to you. At some point you're going to get a reversal. I don't know when it comes, but you got to monitor this thing, and generally you get the reversal on good zones. So for me, guys, 𝗏𝗆, I want to leave you with an 𝗏𝗆 long. You can set some orders here if you want to try and catch this thing, but 0.14, that looks pretty nice to me. That's your VWAP, your 0.5. You've got nice horizontal confluence here as well, and that would make a ton of sense. That should give that 2 hour time to reset and then pop. Hopefully we get a nice move. 0.14 looks good to me. Okay, so 0.14 on 𝗏𝗆 makes sense. Then let's talk Pippin. And oh yes, okay, so I got an entry here on Pippin, and you can see there's a couple of ways to play this. Now, this Pippin thing, there's a lot of talk around it. I don't know how manipulated it is on a scale of 1 to 10. It's probably 11, I would guess. But in terms of what we're looking at here, there's a couple of zones where you can get some scalps. There's a couple of zones where you can get some bigger bounces. So zone number 1, 0.17 for Pippin. And then the big one is going to be your bull zone lower down. Okay, this is going to be a rough one, though. If we start dropping, that's going to be pretty dark. Okay, so 0.145 is what you're going to be looking at. 0.145. I've got a really nice cluster as well in that zone. Nice support. We've got the VWAP backup as well. Remember, these types of meme coins, you don't want to go big size on these guys because they're so volatile. This little move that you can see on the chart over here, this move here is 5%. Okay, so if you're sitting here, that's 8%. If you're sitting there on a 10x leverage or 20x leverage and it drops 8%, you're going to be 80, 90% down on your position. So just manage your leverage and manage your position size. That would be very nice. Okay, so right now, 1.7 and then 1.45 look like zones of interest here for this Pippin. That could come into play for you guys. Then another one for you is SPX. And again, waiting patiently, guys. I'm not going to sit too long on this guy. You can see waiting for this 1 hour reversal. It's kind of floating around at the lows here. When we get that playing out for us on the oscillator, I would like to see a long on SPX, preferably around 663, somewhere in that region. So that long could look like this. And you're going to protect yourselves with a risk of about 2.5%. So if you start closing under that VWAP, that is possibly a sign that you need to jump out of this thing. Okay, so what you can do is you can also bang out a trend over there. Look at that. Okay, so you got some trend action there to give you some extra confluence. So if you start closing below that trend, it's generally going to turn a little bit bearish. So close under 66 could be ugly because you might see something like this then on SPX. Okay, so look out for that. And I see Rob's in the house again. Okay, I've got some ZEC here for you guys. Guys, in terms of virtual mixed bag, okay, chopping around at the moment. First sort of area of interest here for me as in terms of support, it's got to be this guy over here. And you're going to see I've got a 0.5 sitting on this VWAP. Look at this. So let's just add our 0.5 quickly there. And there's your virtual. Okay, so virtual buys down to 90 cents. Okay, buys down to 90. That makes sense over there. Buys down to 90. On virtual, that's your VWAP cover. That'll be a visit to those lows as well, and that could be a nice bullish long play that'll give you a 1 hour reset. Now, obviously, we don't know how deep they want to send that 2 hour, but for me at the moment, that looks okay for me for now. If the market's going to stay bullish, we want to see the bull zone hold. If the bull zone fails, then we look at 618s, we look at 786s, and we take the Mets and we move on. Okay, right now, we want to see bull zones hold because if your bias is bullish, that is kind of what you want to see playing out. Okay, in terms of Pepe, I think we got a shortcoming here, guys. Yeah, this is the 1 hour. We've got multiple reversals here on the oscillator. And if we do pop up now into this next level on Pepe, I think it's going to print some more divergence. So you're probably going to see something like this play out on Pepe. Okay, so maybe one of those and then a second divergence print to the downside. Okay, so Pepe, if you are long here, okay, remain long because obviously it might pop if ETH even pops. If you are looking for a position, this might be the one for you. If you are bearish, that is what you're looking for. 487, 488. That could be a short-term reversal there for you. If Pepe explodes, if you are positioned long, your target, 51. Okay, 515 is your upside target. Bear zone, 487. Bear zone, 515. Those are your two reversal zones there on Pepe. And then bulls, if we fall over and we start rolling over here today, this is where you're going to get your long that I like at the moment. 437 on Pepe. That is starting to make sense for me. 437. We want to hold the bull zone. If we lose the bull zone, we have a different discussion to the downside. Okay, so keep your eyes on that, guys. And then what have I got here? I've got ZEC. You guys were asking. Zcash is nice, guys. Did it hit my entry or did it hit my entry? What did I say, James? 300. And we waited and we waited and we waited. And what did we get? 301.14. Okay, we were close enough, guys. Okay, so nice. Okay, nice little bounce on Zcash, expecting some kind of move here. You can see this oscillator on the 12 hour is starting to turn higher and giving us signs of revival. Okay, looking like MicroStrategy a little bit there in terms of possible bouncy. Okay, and along the top of XRP says Mia, let's see. Okay, so right now it's a lower time frame head and shoulders. Look at this thing. Okay, so you can see XRP right now on the 1 hour, you can see there's a head and shoulders here at the moment. Obviously it doesn't have to play out. We can invalidate that thing. In terms of the oscillator, bearish for me. Okay, not looking good at the moment in terms of XRP. In terms of the zone where I'd like to send it to 0, 2.26 to 2.3, that is still on the cards for us. Okay, so chart hackers, you saw the bearish divergence short zone this morning in the Discord, and that is your next level there to the upside. Okay, so guys, everything I spoke about in the show description for you. If you're looking for the indicators and everything I use, you're looking for the scalping session, it's all in the show description. Click on more. It's there waiting for you guys. Come into the Discord. You're going to see tons of action. We got 8 to 10 traders in there, plus a sick community. I mean, these guys are absolute filthy demons. Thank you, sir.
Good luck, everyone.
Later.